Hey, welcome to the Maniac Report, actually, the Maniac Show. I'm going to change my format. Uh, as you all know, I am linked to Lions on the Prowl. I am co owner with Jim Bordeaux, and we expanded our team and our crew. Marcus and Jim are doing the podcast mainly. I do fill in and help out and also do the Maniac Report for the Lions on the Prowl. Um, it has not been consistent as of late. But my new focus is going to be doing a lot of different things. What I want to try to do is get different guests, different topics. Uh, one day it may not even be about football, it might be about hunting or what fills your passion. What makes you, what is the drive behind you? What is it that makes everything work for you is what I want to be or what I want to focus on, what I want my show to focus on. It may be skateboarding, it may be rollerblading, it may be hockey, it may be different things, different topics. And if people, if you people want me to do something and focus on something one week in one episode or whatever, let me know because this is what I want to do. Now, granted, the guests are going to know a lot more about the topics than I do. Eventually, I want to be going around the country, seeing these things, seeing these different activities or different passions, having different guests on, uh, just growing the show and letting people experience a new side of something you may be interested in, but may not it may not be your passion, but maybe somebody else's. But then maybe the next week it might be your passion. Uh, so this is what I have planned for my channel. I want to thank you guys all for listening. Uh, I want to wish I want to thank everybody who has supported Lions on the Prowl because Lions on the Prowl is the primary company. Eventually, we hope to be expanding the show to not only be Lions on the Prowl, but to be other things. But and Marcus and Jim's going to be leading that up. But it's going to be a eventual show. It's not going to be right now. Uh, they we want to include the Red Wings, the Pistons, the things like that. The Tigers. Jim don't really care about the Tigers. He's a White Sox fan. I am a Tigers fan, uh, Pistons fan, Red Wings fan. Also, I want to, at least on this show, I want to be doing some of your local teams, some of your sports, some minor league teams, some just everything. Who knows? Maybe one day my show might be about mountain climbing, or people would like to parasail or whatever is your passion, scuba diving, hunting. There's a lot of different things, a lot of different areas to explore, and everybody's a unique person and a unique thing. So let's just. I know this is going to be short, and yeah, I ain't had a lot of sleep, but shoot, I'm looking forward to making this channel grow. I want people to subscribe, hit the notifications, just really, support my channel. And also, if you want to be a guest on my channel, let me know. Let me know. I'm going to get a Facebook page that's going to be just for the Maniac Report. I'm going to get. I'm going to try to learn how to post a lot of things on that. Uh, it's just something that I really want to do. I want to get to know more people. I want to get to know what drives your passion, what drives your goal. Uh, and I'm just starting out with this, but I really don't have no episodes lined up yet. I don't know exactly when this is going to start, but the sooner the better. I do work second shift, so I'm free during the daytime. I just got to know in advance, um, and then maybe I can. I'm free during the morning times. That'll be the times when tapings will be. I only get 1 day a week off usually, unfortunately, and that's because of the way I work and where I work. My area, I work almost every Saturday. And no, my work is not my passion. I just do that to pay the bills. As you can see, I am a Lions fan. I may not know all the ins and outs, and I may not know all the technicalities of being Lions, of the sport of football. But I do know that I want 'em to win, and that's one of my passions is the Lions. Uh, as you can see, I am a Michigan Wolverines fan too. Uh, Definitely love that team. Hopefully, it can go ahead and be better. uh, I really want to see them do well this year. Jim Harbaugh, it's time for him to start. He made improvements, but we got to get to the point where we can beat Ohio State, or where Michigan can beat Ohio State. They beat Michigan State. Hey, that was good this year, and it's Michigan State is a contender too. So who knows? I would really like to go ahead and just interview some former players. And there is a funny thing. Uh, this is a funny story that I'm going to share with you guys. A long time ago, um, there used to be the Grand Rapids Rampage. Uh, the Rampage had brought in Anthony Carter, former Michigan wide receiver. And I went up to get his autograph, and I said to him, I shocked the heck out of him. I said, I remember when you used to play for the Michigan Panthers. And a lot of you young guys don't know the Michigan Panthers because they were from the USFL. They played in the Maniac Silverdome. They only played for 2 years. I think it was like 83 or 84. The first year, they started up going like 1-6 or something. I think they lost their first 6 games. Um, Anthony Carter got hurt with broke his arm. I remember that, and things were looking bleak. Of course, they had Bobby Aber was the quarterback back then. He ended up after the league folded, going to the New Orleans Saints. Anthony Carter, after the league folded, ended up going to the Minnesota Vikings. That was kind of like a sour taste in our mouth because the Lions wanted to trade for him. I think it was Miami had the rights to Anthony Carter back then, and we had fired Coach Monty Clark. So it was rumored one of the reasons Anthony Carter was traded to Minnesota rather than the Lions was because Monty Clark had came from the Dolphins organization and was promoted to be the head coach of the Detroit Lions at the time. Well, he got fired, and so basically it was said they didn't want to deal with us because we had fired Monty Clark. I don't know if that's true, but I remember that being a rumor back then. But getting back to the story, I was at a Grand Rapids Rampage game, and getting Anthony Carter's autograph. Damn, I wish I knew where that was right now. But I said, I remember when you used to play for the Michigan Panthers. And this was after he had played for the Minnesota Vikings and after he ended his career in Detroit. Vikings cut him, and then we picked him up, I think, as a free agent, or we traded for him. But I know he ended his career in Detroit. Uh, but I seen him at the Rampage game, and I said, "Hey, I remember when you used to play for the Michigan Panthers." And he said he was so shocked. He said, "Man, that was a long time ago." And shoot, that first year of the Michigan Panthers, they went from going like 1-6 to finishing up the United States Championship game, going the United States not arena, United States, the USFL Football Championship. They beat, I think it was the Baltimore Stars. They beat them to win the first ever United States Football League championship. And they brought pride to Detroit then, pride to Michigan. Back then, there was a lot of players, famous players that were leaving the NFL to go to this United States Football League. Uh, then there were some that were drafted. Quarterbacks like Steve Young, he played for the LA Express back then, $40 million man. That was a big contract back then. It was over 40 years. And to my knowledge, the last I heard, they were still paying off Steve Young part of that contract. Because even though the league was defunct, and even though the the LA Express was defunct, it was, they still owed him that money, so they were paying him like $1 million a year throughout his contract. But he was like the $40 million man, and that was a first. That was a big contract back then, because this was like back in the early 80s. I think it was 83 and 84. They played 85 because Michigan, what happened was the league decided, they were a spring football league, and they decided to go from spring and try to go head to head against the NFL for ratings. They could not get a TV contract, and so the league ended up folding. That's what happened there. So I mean, and it really was, the Panthers only lasted 2 years. They ended up merging with the Arizona Wranglers, and Arizona was already a team, but they just merged the franchises. And after 1 year after 3 years, they were there for 3 years. Their fourth year, they had voted to go ahead, and the league had voted to go ahead and try to go to a fall football league. And like I said, they could not get a TV contract, which meant that the money dried up. And what could have been a great league, if they would have stayed around. And I know the NFL didn't like them because a lot of the players were jumping ship. Uh, so they were glad when they, folded. Another thing that league deals with is that I remember back when, it did affect the Lions too, that league did, because um, our running back, Billy Sims, Kung Fu Billy, uh, actually signed, I think it was to the Houston Gamblers. And Jim Kelly also played on the Houston Gamblers, but signed for the Houston Gamblers. They were signed, sealed, and delivered contract. Then he ended up signing back with the Detroit Lions. The Lions had to go to court to go ahead and get him back, and for some reason, the league goes ahead and, or the not the league, but the judge went ahead and ruled in the Lions' favor, and the Lions end up getting Billy Sims back. Well, unfortunately, that year that he came back, he ended up hurting himself so bad. I think it was something with his knee, and never came back after that. So this was one of the bad lucks that the Lions had. But Jim Kelly was a quarterback of the Houston Gamblers. The USFL tried to go ahead and I think after their first year they expanded, like they got like 5 new teams after their first year. Yeah. So they were expanding, and so that really made a difference. Uh, they definitely lasted a lot longer than what the XFL lasted, and this new league that played after the season. Uh, hey, another signing, another thing, another bit of trivia back then. Herschel Walker. Everybody remembers him, or probably a lot of you younger people don't remember him. But Dallas Cowboys had the rights to him as far as in the draft, but he signed for the New York, New Jersey General. Donald Trump was owner of that team. Before that, the United States Football League was going to be a low budget league, but they snagged the Heisman Trophy winner that year, and of course he played for New York, New Jersey for that 3 years until the team folded. But Dallas had the rights. Dallas did not want him for some reason. They probably had a running back that was as good as him. So they traded him to Minnesota Vikings, and Minnesota traded away draft choices like crazy for years. And it hurt the team for years because they thought that Herschel Walker was going to be that player, that running back that would get them over the hump. Well, unfortunately, things didn't work out for Minnesota. And so basically, they traded away a lot for him. And so it hurt that team quite a bit, but it helped Dallas. So you look at why Dallas was able to really progress in those years. Part of it was that trade that they made with Minnesota, giving them Herschel Walker. Now, I didn't prepare for this. I didn't know that I was going to go into so much of the USFL, but I remember I used to watch it. Way back when it first came on, I would listen to it on the radio because I couldn't, the channel that they played on, I couldn't get in. So, and we didn't have cable TV at the time. I didn't. But shoot, I would listen to it, and I remember hearing them when they lost, and it was like, and back, they still had the prejudice as far as for, that you still get nowadays, where the NFL is really the only league, and spring football, that's never going to work, and all that other stuff. But I think it could have worked if they were stuck with it, stuck in the spring. But who knows? It might have folded. Well, that's going to be the Maniac show for this week. As you can see, I was really interested in that team. I was really mad um, when the league went ahead and decided to go um, for the to the head to head, because there was no way Detroit was going to be able to support the Lions and the Michigan Panthers playing the same time in the Silver Dome. So that's why they decided to move that. Jim Stanley was a coach. Uh, they even had a running back out of Reese Puffer High School, which I live in Muskegon. Reese Puffer is one of our suburbs of Muskegon. It's in North Muskegon, actually. And they had a running back. Like I said, I was not really prepared to talk so much about it. I should have prepared a lot better. But shoot, this is my Maniac Report for this week, or my Maniac show. And I remember I was passionate about the Michigan Panthers back then. All right. And we will see you on other episodes. I guess this would be episode 1 of the new rebirth of the Maniac Report. Okay. Take care. Thank you guys for listening, and remember, subscribe to the Maniac Report. And also remember, go ahead and I need topics. I'm just going to need to do some research until I can get guests. And I got a few friends. They're not really famous friends, but I do got a few, and I do got one friend that's coming up that's going to be that his son is going into wrestling. He's training to be a wrestler right now. I'm going to try to get him on my show. I know anytime I could probably get the dad, but eventually I want to get the son, and I'm not the guy that's going to be in wrestling. Okay, well, thank you guys for listening. This is it. Maniac Tim Becker signing off for the Maniac Report. I hope you guys liked what I told you a little bit about the USFL, the United States Football League. See, sometimes things work in Michigan. All right, I'm going to say this. Go Lions. Lions on the prowl. One pride.